John Meeks, whether that was rotation, the starter of the pen, him being available in at least maybe a game 2, for example.
Yeah, it was. Our bullpen became a bunch of short inning relievers, and so we kind of went in expecting into the workout phase postseason that we're going to have John available to start one of the games, and just one of those things that happened. It's unfortunate, but it happened, and it didn't allow us to have one of our starters go in the bullpen.
Yeah, but one of the good performances in the bullpen late in the season, the postseason, came from VL Ball.
Yeah.
And you guys have long said, well, you were looking at him as a starter, and without Batista for next year, is he somebody that you might recommend be considered as?
We haven't even discussed, honestly, DL's role next year. I'm just so excited about how he threw the ball in September and how he threw the ball on the national stage. Whatever we decide to do with him, he's going to be a huge part of our team next year. But that was an unbelievable performance of the 2 games he pitched in the postseason. And he wasn't really stretched out to those 2 type of innings either, just the kind of the way it fell. And he was just fantastic. So down the stretch into the postseason, he showed everybody the kind of pitcher that we've been waiting for. And he's gonna be a big impact for us going forward.
Brendan, as you look back on the season, what moments or feelings kind of will stick with you?
Well, I have so many great feelings. I mean, the way it ended was awful and sucked, and we're wearing that still. But it was a really successful season, and overcoming so many odds and obstacles that are against us, and so many people thinking that we weren't going to be a playoff team, and all of a sudden we win 101 games and win the American League East. I mean, that's says a lot about a lot of people in the organization, a lot of guys in that clubhouse. So I'm really proud of that. But we had so many awesome moments and huge wins and close wins, and the amount of close games we played was ridiculous, and how we won some games, during the season. It was just a total team effort, and that's how we played all year. And unfortunately, the postseason we just didn't play our best, and ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw. But I'm gonna have great memories of this team. No, I mean I'll watch. I'm going to watch a little differently this year. I'm going to watch a little irritated, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm still irritated. I'm still frustrated. Still pissed. So when I watched I watched the Diamondbacks last night. I'm really happy for Torey Lovullo and one of my best friends, Jason McLeod, over there in Arizona, and Mike and Amiel and what they're doing over there. That's a fun team to watch. So I was happy to watch those guys last night.
Brendan, when you talk to your guys with maybe a day or 2 of perspective now, what's your sense of how they see the future?
Say that again, Tim. Say it again.
When you talk to your guys now, after it's been a day or 2 now, I mean, when you talk to the players, what's your sense of how they see the future?
Well, yeah, but there's not many players. I don't know how many guys are still here, and most of the guys are getting on in the car or going in an airplane probably right now. But spent the morning with him yesterday. Team flight back. I think guys are very disappointed, but I think they're very aware of what they accomplished this year, and they should. It's really, really hard what we did, and it's really, really hard what we did after losing 110 games 2 years ago. That's unprecedented. And so they need to know that, and they need to understand that. And we came up short of what we expected out of ourselves. But there's a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot to the guys are going to be back. There's going to be a lot to look forward to because they're really good players.
Brandon, Mike said that if there's any deficiencies on the roster, any deficiencies that occurred in the postseason, that's on him. But when you look at you and the postseason, do you look at things that you wish you would have done, or is it just kind of the way the script went?
whenever we lose any sort of game, whether it's in April or the postseason, I take it as harder than anybody else. And so when things don't work out the way that you want them to work out, I mean, I wear it big time. So whether it's division series or a game against Texas in April, I take losses hard.
Brandon, to that point, obviously a lot of your players have gone to the postseason the first time. That wasn't your case, but it was your first time in this role. What did you kind of learn from those 3 games?
Well, it was 3 unusual games. I mean, the first game was a game that we won a lot of how that game was played. We won that game a lot, and it just didn't happen. We had scoring opportunities and just couldn't cash in. They made it. Young made a great play at third base in a big spot after Chappie had a tough time commanding. In the inning, and it just didn't go. I feel like we didn't get any bounces or breaks, and then it's tough to play catch up in the postseason and from the second inning on. That's just bottom line. And so there's a lot of things to look back and you wish things went differently.
Brandon, would you expect the rest of your coaching staff to be around with you next year?
Yeah, I haven't even had those discussions with Mike. Me and Mike are going to talk about that, in the coming days. But I thought our guys did a great job and a huge part of why we won 101 games.
Brandon, you said a bunch of times that the talent of the roster is a huge reason for the jump in the last couple seasons. But what has it been like for you as a manager kind of see, your moves and decisions and your wins kind of reach that higher stage to the point where you're being discussed in these conversations about manager of the year?
I don't. That's nice. I'm still pissed, to be honest with you. So I don't. I'm disappointed, and I mean, I don't really read a ton, and I try to keep my focus. I mean, when the season's going on, honestly, like all I'm worried about is that night's game, and so what's happening around me. Sometimes I'm not aware of, or I'm being told, but I'm just trying to get better every day, honestly, and I'm just trying to put our team in position to win as much as I possibly can. So, whatever people say, they say, and if it's nice things, that's great.
Brandon, for a long time around here, we've been wondering where we have a number 1 starter, and we're looking towards free agency or a big trade.
Right.
Even with Bradish's growth this season, the club has like a real number 1.
I think it's got an opportunity to be a number 1. I think a lot. I mean, when you talk about number 1 starters, it's a handful in this league. True number 1s, and it's hard to be a true number 1. So, does he have the ability to? Absolutely. Does Grayson have the ability to? Absolutely. They're a ways away. You know what I mean? They're a ways away. A true number 1 is a guy that is going to stop any sort of losing streak, a guy that's going to, go dominate a team in postseason, like those type of guys. And those are hard to find, but those 2 guys have the stuff and the ability to be that type of guy.
Does the team need a guy like that to get past where you guys are?
Well, I'm hoping those guys develop into that, possibly. I don't know what we're going to do this offseason. That's not my department. I'm going to do the best I can with the roster that's given to me. I know Mike will be in discussions, and Mike will talk to me about roster stuff through this offseason and into the winter meetings and all that stuff. I can't believe we're already talking about that. But we'll see. I honestly don't know what moves we're going to make or what additions we're going to do, or we haven't even discussed next year at this time.
I guess to follow that, Mike said that he will give a lot more weight to individual performances over 162 games than what someone did in a 3-game playoff series in terms of his outlook on a player going forward. Are you kind of in that same boat?
Yeah. I think in the world of analytics, there's big samples and there's small samples. They tend to look at the big sample. So 3 games is kind of a small sample. It's also a first experience for a lot of those guys, and we're going to evaluate everything going forward. We just got our teeth kicked in, so we're still wearing it. Wow, that caused a reaction.
5-day layoff that's going on for some of the better teams and the way it's impacting things. Do you think that's something that needs to be looked at down the road, or?
Well, I don't think it helps. Let's put it that way. I don't know what they're going to do. I know that there's a lot of things that are way more people make a lot more money than I do that figure that out, and there's a lot more money involved than my opinion. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. I think it's a long time.
Brian, it is tough to manage these postseason games as is, but when you have starters who aren't able to get out of the first portion of the game, what's the mindset of you as a manager at that point? Are you in scramble mode? Like, what's going through your mind?
Well, you're at that point, you're just trying to stay in the game somehow, try to give your team an opportunity to catch up. Without a long guy, especially in that second game, I knew everybody was going to pitch. And so it was like trying to find the right spot for every single person, knowing that if we could stay in this game, I'm going to need these certain guys later in the game and not, you know what I mean? So that was challenging, and that blew up on us, kind of that middle or the early third of that game. So I don't know. I mean, that's when your starter gets knocked out in the second inning, the odds of winning are pretty low. Not that I'm thinking that at that time, but it's not. It's extremely challenging, and then if it happens twice, it's not easy.
Brandon, that irritation you're feeling, is that something you learn to carry forward in some fashion, or is it something you eventually?
Probably not my strength. I don't like to lose. I don't like to lose, and I don't like to lose like that. And I wanted our players to jump around again, and I didn't want to. It's a really cool group. You didn't want to get on the plane after something like that. After losing like 3, and you wanted to see them play. Continue to play. That's the bottom line. You just didn't want the season to be over.
Brandon, Cedric Mullins, 2 stints on the IL, had a really bad September, carried over the postseason. How much of it was health? Was he as healthy as he needed?
I'm not really sure. I think that health, I'm sure, played a part into the lack of consistency, but he, said it was a big part of our team, and he wanted to be out there, and he wasn't giving indication that he was hurt of any sort. And I'm sure, like everybody, he was banged up, and I know he needed those days off, but he didn't end the season very well, very strong, and still played great defense and looked healthy playing defensively, but just couldn't get going offensively there.
Brandon, you mentioned, of course, it's Mike's job to put together the roster in the offseason, but what's your role in the talent evaluation? Can you speak a little bit to the kind of conversations you guys have together?
Well, I think we take a little bit of a break, and then as the postseason wraps up, and we start talking about the roster next year and free agents that are available, and he'll clue me in on some of the targets and why and those type of things. That's I'm not heavily involved in the transaction process, or I think as we, like last year, once we start targeting free agents that we're interested in, then I become a part of the process of the recruitment process a little bit, where I talk to, like, there was a lot of guys we talked to last offseason, and I was a part of, talking about our organization, talking about our team to those players. So I'll be involved in that way.
Brandon, I asked a similar question to Mike. Being a part of that recruitment, do you think having the 100-win season behind you is going to maybe speak to potential free agents a little more as the proof of concept that you guys have got together and might be an attracting factor?
Yeah, I mean, I look back at all those players we talked to, the ones that didn't come here. We were pretty right on. We were honest. We thought we were going to be pretty good. We thought they could be a help. We thought that our team was going to be exciting and have a chance to win the AL East, and we were right. And everybody that from last year was very interested because of the talent we had on our team and what we were going to look like going forward, and we said what we were going to do. Maybe a little bit more than we thought we were going to do, honestly, to start the year. So I think that that's going to be the same way this year, where people are going to see that they enjoy playing here, and this is a fun team to be on, and we're going to win.
Brandon, when you made the decision to play gunner mostly short, a lot of managers would have buried a player like Mateo. You seem to still make sure he was part of the process of winning. You see a lot of value in him?
I do. I mean, there's only so many guys in the league that can run like him. There's only so many guys in the league that have that sort of talent. He's still kind of early in his career. I primarily played him against lefties the second half of the year, last 2 months of the year, kind of, just because I thought I wanted to give him a little bit better opportunity, honestly. And he performed. He swung the bat well against left-handed pitching, and made a difference for us when he was in the lineup against them.
As a follow-up, did you see his defense take a step back when he was playing part-time?
I think a little bit. I think also because he was out there more inconsistently, I think that might have played a part in that a little bit. But I think that he still could be a really special defender. I think that going from playing mostly every day to then being part-time, or there was a run in early September-ish that I think we faced like 15 righties in a row. So he got really sporadic playing time there, and that's hard to do. It's hard to do to stay sharp defensively and also keep your mind right and ready, and that's something he's going to learn. I mean, he's still 3 years into his career, and so it wasn't like we're rolling veteran dudes out there that, like Adam Frazier, if he didn't play for 5 days, knew how to, because he's been in the league for 9 years. And that's just part of growing up as a major league player.
The retention concern for you guys late in the year, Brandon, was the season inning limits for some individual pitchers.
Yeah.
Obviously, you went to the six-man. Now that guys got through that, what are you going to do for the 2024 rotation?
Let's go. I mean, for me, the six-man, when we decided to go to a six-man rotation, that possibly was a season saver. Because I feel like all those guys, that was kind of crunch time a little bit, and it allowed all those guys to get an extra day, and they showed what they could be like when they're rested, and I think that was the right thing to do for every one of them, because they were flying over their innings because they were all pitching so well, and we needed them. So they, for me, that was a huge part of our season, is when we made that decision at that point. I'm excited about our rotation going forward. Like I said, I'm not sure what's going to happen from a roster standpoint, but I know that we have some guys in there that had great experience this year and had really good seasons and are still really young in their career. I mean, if you just go back what Tyler Wells did the first half, and then we did the last week of the season, it's unbelievable. Arguably our best starting pitcher the first half, and then becomes, I don't think he gave up a run since he came back out of the bullpen and showed the kind of the stuff that he had out of the bullpen from a couple of years ago. So our starting pitching is up and coming, and I think that they're only going to get better.
Brandon, with Dean going into game 3, obviously he had a lot on his mind
Yeah.
going into that game. How was he going into the game, and was there any thought to make a change there maybe before?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. But he seemed good, and we would have probably needed him for game 4 if he didn't pitch game 3. So, but he felt prepared for that day. We gave him a heads up that it was going to be that day. Then obviously a lot of things happened over the weekend, and I thought he was handling it extremely well. If that affected it, that second inning or not, I don't know. But I give him a ton of credit for shouldering a lot and going to try to do what he did.
Brandon, at the end of 2022, you talked about the leadership of Lyles and Rugi and Rob.
Yep.
And how that would be difficult to replace.
Yep.
And this year you have Gibson and Frazier and Hicks, and you don't know what the situation
McCann.
McCann will be back, though.
Yeah.
Gillen Free, you're not 100% sure whether they're going to be back or not. how difficult is that, or is that just kind of part of it, and do you expect other guys to step up leadership-wise?
Yeah, I would expect that we're going to, possibly acquire veteran players also. I mean, I think that's an important part of the clubhouse, and we've, Mike's done a great job of getting the right type of veteran guys in here. All those, you name six or seven of those guys, they're all have been incredibly helpful. Robbie still sends me texts. Robbie watches every game, and those guys have been a huge impact on our younger players, and you can't really see it out there, and nobody sees it, but we know it inside the clubhouse what they do for them, the young guys, and I'm assuming will be the same way going forward.
How much would you like that trio to come back?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. They're at a certain point in their career that they've earned to go do whatever's best situation for their family, and so whatever's the best for them, I'm fully on board.
How do you feel like that middle group of the roster, every group of players who's kind of been here throughout your tenure has done in that regard, and how they've grown into this group?
Yeah, they've been. I've seen a lot of growth. I mean, a lot of growth in Santander and Hayes, and how they're just more vocal now and established. And Hazy starts the All-Star game. Santander's the best switch hitters in the league. So just they've gotten older and they've had more experiences now, and they're not afraid to speak up. They've matured extremely well. They're fun to be around.
When you look forward to spring training, I know it's really far away, but what are you most looking forward to seeing there? The camaraderie come back together, certain players?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great group. I think they're going to come into spring training extremely hungry. And I think the expectations are going to be even higher, which is what we want. And we're looking forward to embracing those. But I'm just looking forward, I just say goodbye to a bunch of them. I want them to enjoy their off-season as much as they possibly can. And looking forward to seeing them in spring, ready to go.